last night I watched the newest, technically MCU film, Deadpool and Wolverine. Let me tell you guys, for the first time in a very, very long time, I felt excited for something that Marvel made. So, get ready for my spoiler-free review. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
Dario again, din din. I just want to be Dario again, din din. Life I love is making podcasts with my friends. Oh, I can't wait to get Dario again. Alright, I know I'm technically on the road. I'm just stuck. You know, I'm doing the border crossing thing, so I figured, it still counts. I am technically on a road. I'm not in my studio doing it, so you got the song. There you go. I actually kind of miss singing it. I actually messed up the lyrics a few times, so this is like my third time recording it, but whatever. It's a simple song. I'm just an idiot, all right? So, like I said, this is going to be spoiler-free. I don't think it's going to be that long, hopefully. You know how I get sometimes, but before I get into it, comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at DarioSDW and at Super Dario World. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel, all that good stuff. And so, if you want the shortest version possible, spoiler-free, watch the movie. Watch the movie. It's good. It's worth your money. If I can, I'll watch it again this weekend. I don't know. It's Comic-Con weekend. I'm planning on going at least once, and I have other commitments the other days. But if I can, I might go see it. It's worth your money, right? So that's the shortest version possible. It's a good movie. It's fun. It's funny. I was laughing out loud. You get emotional sometimes. It's got a lot of heart, which is very important. And so it's good overall. Now, in the context of the MCU, does it save it? No way. That thing is beyond saving, probably. But it's a good film. Let's just say, forget about the MCU. It does not ruin the Deadpool movies, right? So I had a big concern. I think most people had a big concern coming into this movie. And, you know, it wasn't so much the directors or the writers or all this stuff. We were concerned because we knew Ryan Reynolds was going to have complete control over this. And Ryan Reynolds has been doing a really good job with Deadpool, right? And so our big concern was, what is Disney going to not allow Ryan Reynolds to do, right? What are the limits? And at first, we heard that the MCU was going to stay PG-13. And so we were concerned because Deadpool is a hard R, right? It's hard R. So when they said this movie will still be rated R, I was still concerned, not as much. And so we were just concerned. The big concern was, what are the limits that Disney's going to put on Deadpool? And clearly there are some limits. But the limits I could kind of let go. So they clearly put a limit on obscenities. Like if you rewatch the first two movies, they go hard in some very, let's just say, inappropriate places, right? They do, like, all right, simple enough. Even on the trailer, they do pegging in I believe it's the first movie. So for those of you who don't know what that is, I ain't gonna explain it to you. You have the internet. Let's just say, if you are a minor, don't look it up. It's not appropriate for you. But they do. In fact, you know what? You shouldn't even be watching this because you're a minor and you can't watch Deadpool, all right? So if you're one of my nieces or nephews watching this video, do not watch that movie. You're too young. All right. Anyway, unless you're one of my nieces and nephews who's over 18. I guess you're fine. Anyway, none of that matters. So, what was I even talking about? All right, so they toned down the obscenities. However, they amped up the ridiculous action. So, and they amped up the violence. So, if you're Ryan Reynolds, you're at the negotiating table, you're like, fine, you don't want me to do pegging jokes? I want to make this even bloodier. I want to make it more violent, more savage. Because if I'm going to put Wolverine in there, Wolverine has to turn people into ceviche. And so Disney was like, deal. And it transfers beautifully on screen, at least for the fight stuff. And honestly, this is probably my favorite version of Wolverine on screen. Now, I'm not saying that it's a better movie than Logan, because Logan overall is a better film. It's got a lot of heart. It's got it's deep action. It's phenomenal acting, pretty much from everybody. But the thing that this movie has, as opposed to Logan, this is Savage Wolverine. All right, this is Wolverine unhinged, without any restraints, just straight up bloody X-Force Wolverine. And so it's beautiful to watch on screen. And it's Wolverine Unleashed in many ways. It's unlike we saw him in any of the X-Men movies or any of that stuff. So that's great to see. And so if that was the trade-off, obscenity for just epic violence, I'm okay with it. And it works. It honestly, like, the action parts and the comedy parts are really good. It's got a phenomenal dance battle thing, or it got a phenomenal dance routine / fight scene. It's ridiculous, but it's great. So the story, the issue with this movie, the big issue, is probably the story and the pacing. Because there's even a point in the movie where the movie makes a joke about the movie, dragging. And the issue is the pacing. That's not a big deal. Again, it's not the world's biggest deal, but you do start feeling it. And in fact, I was surprised at the end of the movie when I looked at my phone, it wasn't as late as I thought it was. So I was like, oh my God, the movie feels long, which means it has a pacing issue. They kind of acknowledge it in a way, but whatever. To me, it's better to not make the mistake instead of making a joke out of the mistake. Whatever, not a big deal. Again, the issue is the story. However, because it's time travel, multiverse traveling, all this stuff. By the way, if you haven't seen the show Loki, you may be confused. I saw the show Loki and I was confused, but I haven't seen season 2 Loki because, I thought it was stupid and I didn't care anymore. But maybe season 2 explains a little bit. To me, there was just a massive plot holes just based off of season 1 Loki, but whatever. That doesn't really matter. So if there's anything from the MCU you need to see, it's probably that. However, it kind of works in a way because the movie is a comedy at its heart. So it's an action movie, but it's at its heart, it's a comedy, right? It's a ridiculous comedy. And comedy I'm very forgiving for comedies, and because they can work without logic or reason just to make a joke work, right? You can give up logic or reason to make a joke work. I'm totally fine with it if I laughed, right? Because that's what I came to see, right? That's why I'm there. I went to see a comedy to laugh. So strangely enough, all the multiverse stuff works really well when you take away logic or reason and you're just making fun of it. So the big mistake the MCU has done up to this point is try to take all that stuff seriously. Deadpool came in and was like, this is stupid, I'm gonna treat it like it's stupid, and I don't give a fuck about your rules because you don't give a fuck about your own rules. And so that kind of makes it work. Again, if you try to take it seriously, you're screwed and you're not gonna enjoy any of it. You have to go in there the way that you can clearly tell the writers were, and it's like, this is stupid, fuck it. We'll just have fun with it and make things cool and do cool stuff with it. And I'm totally fine with the rule of cool, by the way. And so they just took this opportunity to bring in stuff that they thought, you know what, let's do an homage to this, or ooh, let's do an homage to this comic book, or ooh, let's just do this, oh, fans will love this, or wouldn't it be cool if we do this? And so they just threw a whole bunch of stuff at the wall. Some of the things stick, some of them don't, some of them are stupid, some of them are stupid and funny. So they kind of just did that. They just went hog wild, and they were like, this is dumb, let's just have fun with it and do whatever the fuck we want. So that works. Again, the multiverse works if you take away logic, reason, seriousness, anything. So did it save the MCU? Did it bring everything together? I don't think so. In fact, I don't think Deadpool fits into the MCU in any way, shape, or form. It's too wild, it's too ridiculous. Again, it's a comedy, it's too violent. I cannot imagine Deadpool in an MCU movie, not being ridiculously violent and bloody and all that stuff. It just wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't feel right. So In fact, I'm happy if they just keep him as a separate thing. Honestly, it's way better, and it's a better universe. In fact, if I'm Ryan Reynolds at this point, I'm like, ew, keep that stuff away from my Deadpool, right? Keep your stupid, idiotic storylines off my Deadpool, please, all right? Because I'm just basically a better, more violent parody of what you are. So, ew, stop it, stay away. So, again, good for Ryan Reynolds. I don't know how much negotiating this took, but it worked out phenomenally. As far as Hugh Jackman goes, everybody, the big concern, listen, everybody loves Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I think he's the best part that came out of 20th Century Fox, Marvel related. And so, since everybody loved his Wolverine, they love Hugh Jackman specifically, we were very concerned about, he closed out that storyline perfectly, right? Logan was the perfect way to end a character's, 20-year history in film. Might have been longer or shorter, I don't know. But to end his tenure as Wolverine, put the claws away and all that stuff. So, bringing him back required many things, and you can tell in the movie that they on purpose added elements or story points for him to not just flex his physical muscles, but to flex his acting muscles. Hugh Jackman is a phenomenal actor, right? And Wolverine fits him like a glove. Like, you could tell that he's extremely comfortable with the character, but he hasn't gotten lazy with it. He still treats Logan with a shit ton of respect. And I think the audience I appreciate it, because you're like, no, he's protective of his character. They might, again, it's a comedy, he will have to do some things that are ridiculous, but you could tell that he kind of drew his line on certain things, like, no, this is the way that Logan is going to be, because I have a legacy to maintain. And he didn't just, or at least from my perspective, he didn't just throw away that character's legacy, his legacy, doing the character for money. He didn't just sell out for money in that sense. He was like, no, if I'm coming back, A, it has to be for a lot of money, and B, it has to be a way that I honor my own legacy, right? I mean, I don't know if people care that much about that. I would care about that in his situation. And so, again, the character he was treated with a lot of respect, was put in situations where he looks cool as fuck, and he got an opportunity to flex his, again, physical muscles, and which are ginormous, and his actor muscles. So overall, you're like, thank God. It's a weird thing, because I was like, I'm so happy that they ended Wolverine's storyline like this. And then all of a sudden they throw this wrench at you, and they throw you this Wolverine that we'd never seen before, because again, we're used to the PG-13 version from the X-Men movies, but it's a rated R Wolverine, and not the Logan one. This is like hardcore, bloody, savage Wolverine, and you're like, yes, I never knew I needed this, but I needed this. Like, or even from the cartoons aren't even that bloody. Like, comic book Wolverine is very bloody. In some video games, he is very savage. I mean, the dude who has knives in his hands, basically, he has to chop people up. So, seeing that, you're like, yes. So, good. Again, very well handled. That's kudos to the script. Kudos to the stunt people, and to everybody involved, because they took this project very seriously. It's like they kind of know that let me see if that got sort of a glare. I have a glare right in my eye. So they kind of know that this is their chance to start something special, continue it, fix it. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think they're fixing anything. I think they're just going to do their own separate thing. Kind of like, who the hell knows what the DC cinematic universe is? But, like there was the Snyderverse, and then there was the Batman movies. Maybe that's what they're going to do here. I mean, that's what I'd do, because Deadpool is successful. I wouldn't taint it with all the other dumb MCU stuff that they added. And so in many ways, this movie is an homage to the 20th Century Fox. Well, not in many ways. It is an homage, and it's a love letter to the 20th Century Fox. Well, it's a love letter, but, written by a very perverted, fucked up teenager. Lustful teenager with a fucked up sense of humor. But overall, I think they did a good job. I walked out of there excited. I walked out of there happy. I was like, they made Wolverine look really cool again. Like, he looked really cool in the sense, not just physically, but in the performance. There are a few things that I did not like, and it's the quality of CGI for Disney has gone down the drain. I don't know why. And there are a few situations where you're like, that does not look like even the original Iron Man movie. Like the original Iron Man movie looked better sometimes in CGI than the newest ones. And I mean post Endgame, because Endgame still looked really great. So post Endgame, this is, if you don't consider the Spider-Man movies to be part of the MCU, which you kind of should, you know what? I'll say it's on par with the Spider-Man movie, right? Because again, I remember how I felt watching that one, like very excited to see like my old friends again, and them wrapping up certain storylines very neatly. They, again, got a lot of freaking heart in that movie. It's Spider-Man. So it's a very similar feeling, except I think I was a little bit more apprehensive walking into this. So my expectations were lower because I've been beaten down by Disney for years, right? It's like, well, they just keep destroying everything I love. And so this is a very important lesson for Disney and Marvel in general, because this movie does not follow the MCU formula, or what's it called, the MCU formula at all. This is a dude movie, right? I wouldn't say a dude bro movie, but it's a dude movie in many ways. Basically, bloody, violent, and it's a buddy cop movie in a way. I don't know. It's hard to explain specifically without doing any spoilers. Again, the pacing is kind of an issue, but they just said kind of like, we don't give a fuck. We don't want to be appropriate. We just want to be funny. We just want to be wild. And I think they pushed it to the limit every single chance they got, and good for them, honestly, because the result was phenomenal. Like, the biggest compliment I could give it is that I already want to pre-order it, right? As soon as it's out on Blu-ray, I'm buying it, because I have the previous two, and like I need the third one, because it's got to be part of the. I have Logan. I have the other X-Men. I need it part of my collection now, so I think that's the most important. And I was at a point where I was like, I'm not giving them money anymore. But this one was well deserved. So there you go. It ended up being a longer rant than I expected. And I couldn't even get into spoilers. But yeah, watch the movie. There's going to be a lot of spoilers. If you care about that stuff, there will be a lot of them, because there's a lot of surprises. And let's just say they have access to a lot of IP. And now they have a Disney level budget. So you have to watch the movie several times in order to catch all the Easter eggs in it, and even all the cameos in it, which is honestly not a bad way to spend a day. So I'll just leave it there. Watch the movie, it's good. So if you were wondering, is it worth your money? I think it was. I had a great time watching it. I'll happily watch it again, and I'll buy the Blu-ray when it comes out. So there you go. As always, comments, questions, suggestions, you can find me at Dario SDW and at Super Dario World. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel, all that good stuff. It really helps me out. I haven't spoken to Eric yet, but I'm assuming we're going to do some NFL stuff next week, because NFL is starting to heat up again. Training camp, all that stuff. There's great storylines. It's finally exciting to talk about the Chargers, which is wild. I don't know what's crazier, Disney making a good Marvel movie again, or the Chargers not sucking or being relevant or being exciting to talk about. I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, as always, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.